Welcome to the bold analysis. Many people have been telling me to put a comment about the Bakassi explosion. Yeah, I am going back again tomorrow to, I was in Mamanusi shortly, but I'll go back tomorrow and also try to go to Bakassi. Bakassi ni hapa karibu, just around that place to just see myself what exactly is going on and what exactly happened. But we sympathize with the families of the victims there. We are looking at you, we are praying for you, yeah, during this difficult moment, those who lost their loved ones and the ones that are still in hospital, yeah, may you, we are praying for quick recovery. Straight to my discussion in this video. We have witnessed colossal incompetence of the political class to meet the expectations of the public as of the public document, or rather the public contract that was signed on August last 2022, 9th August 2022. The duty bearers are otherwise engaged in endless hope-hawking in political rallies. What the duty bearers are doing is just hawking hopes. There is this statement that is coming when the duty bearer was saying that kazi yako ni kwenda kufinya laptop, chukua finya laptop, alafu click the desktop computer, alafu natoa dollars. And people have been trolling, showing photos of carrying desktop, show us where we click and get those dollars. And it's an insult because people don't have the question. Now,
huyu Chikati akijenga hiyo ICT hub, mimi nitahakikisha iko computer na nitahakikisha iko internet, na nimepanga ajira ya hawa vijana kufanya hiyo kazi. Nyinyi vijana wa hapa kazi yenu ni mbili: kuwapia huko kufundishwa na kufinya computer na uweke pesa ya dola kwa mfuko yako. Wewe utashindwa kufinya computer ndio upate pesa? Na wewe sasa ukishindwa kufinya computer nitakusaidia namna gani? Sijui kama tunaelewana watu wanaitiri.
On the light of that, Mutahi Ngunyi started a discussion yesterday, and there is a question he asked which I want us to look at because it's really tied up to what I want us to look at. And the question is this: is the public the problem? Is the public the problem, or is Ruto the problem? Question. Think about it. If Moses had followed the people, children of Israel would still be in wilderness today. Fact. So what that parable is supposed to tell us is that in that wilderness, I don't want to expound on it, but I just want to use anecdote a bit. In that place, there is a place the Israelites were complaining that you rather take us back home wakati walikuwa wanateseka. So it's like we are in that place, but they arrived. But then is William Ruto the Moses in this context? The answer is no. I want to tell you something, and let's just answer straight. My position is that William Ruto is not the problem. We are the problem. You know why? Some people are shocked about the latest developments and the governance leadership style of William Ruto now. But that is who William Ruto is. And the presidency has just exposed him. That is why I agree with my friend Pauline Njoroge when she says that had it not that Ruto became a president, we would have lived the rest of our life buying the lie that is the person that made Uhuru Kenyatta power to survive. We would have believed it. And so, this is who Ruto is. And some people are warned. You know, that's why people say we warned. People say Uhuru Kenyatta had been with William Ruto for 10 years, I think in the public service. He's his deputy for 10 years. And he knew. And he said, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong. But ourselves, we made the problem. A renowned political commentator, Kinudi, I listened keenly to his interview in Hot 96. That interview is long, but it's worth listening to. Because from it, I want us to grasp what I believe is the problem that as people we have.
Kenya Kwanza sold hope. They sold everything, close to hope during the elections. Very few of those promises have been fulfilled. Let's face it, very few.
I have given an example of a pilot who was supposed to fly people to Dubai. And they allowed pilots to campaign at the airport. And one pilot came and said, I have been a captain for 25 years. I have flown for this number of hours. I will fly you to Dubai, but you'll need to fasten your belts, you'll need to be comfortable, so on and so forth. Another one came and said, number one, we are going to remove some seats. We are going to have a nyama choma grill in the aeroplane. Number two, we are going to have a DJ. You are going to have all the wine you want, all the alcohol you have. You are allowed to do anything in this plane. In fact, we shall have a pole, you can dance on the pole. Even when we are taking off, you don't need to fasten your seatbelt. Guess what? Kenyans voted for the man who told them that you can have a grill for nyama choma inside the aeroplane. Yeah. And you can fry all the mituras you want. And you can have a party and you can dance on a pole. On some matters, sometimes, it is good to allow that Kenyans do not have a campaign on some matters. If you allowed Kenyans to choose a pilot, and when the pilot took off, just at the runaway, we realized we had a problem. Because they were asking, signal iko pande gani? Reverse gear iko pande gani? Kwani hii ndege haina mafuta ya kutosha? And so the aeroplane has never left. Because they voted for the person who told them you can roast nyama choma inside an aeroplane. And left the captain who told them, I have been a pilot for 25 years. I have 3,000 hours of flying, and so on and so forth. On some matters in this country, we cannot allow people to do campaigns on. Because when you lie to people, and the people buy your lies, and then you get inside and start asking, gia dege iko wapi? Number one inaekewa wapi? Na rivers ni gani? That is where we are.
And yet we constantly keep going back there, voting for that guy with the nyama choma in the plane.
And unfortunately, Kenyans are also very selfish. Because there's a leader who would come and do a road like Mwai Kibaki, but he will not give you 100 shillings. But because we are so individualistic, so selfish, we only think about my house and what I took to my house. We prefer the guy who gave you 100 shillings to the guy who built a road that helps everybody. And that is why I'm telling Kenyans, tuache kujipenda, tuache tamaa, tuache ulafi. Let's start thinking about this country. This government has never understood. They think we fight their programs, but that's not what we do. We fight for the sanctity of our incomes. So for us, we've always told them, it is not your programs we have a problem with. We have a problem with you planning for your programs with our salaries in mind. So if you were to plan without really planning for our salaries, I think things would be okay. The problem is, every time you think about something, you wait, hey, Jeff's salary, let's hire for 5,000. Then you decide you want to build houses. Jeff's salary, let's go for another 10,000. Then you decide, health is not adequate. His salary. So whose work is it? Whose salary is it? And that's why I've always told them, it is very easy. You take the salary, we take the taxes. It appears a better place to be. In a country that should have a ratio of 1 policeman to every 495 citizens, according to the UN standards, and it has 1 to 1,200. But we still find it necessary to take 1,000 out of what we have to go to Haiti. It doesn't make sense. Try, pick up your phone even at 8 a.m. sometimes on some streets in Nairobi, and you see what those guys on the motorbike will do. We've not been able to contain our own problems here in terms of security. Why are we going to keep peace in another country?
Especially in a country where they can't even speak. Do our police speak French
or patois?
I was giving somebody the analogy. For anybody who came to Nairobi when they were adults, the first time you landed in Nairobi, when you found yourselves in Nairobi, you used to tell people, we meet at a Afia Center. Or you had specific places where you had to meet so that you get your bearing. Now what you are doing is taking our standard policeman, the one we know on our roads, and placing him in a capital city in Haiti where he has never been. And then he's supposed to start fighting bandits from there. To start with, he's even geographically challenged. He has no idea where to start. Yeah. Imagine, mtu ameland hapa, I've always said bus station, for the first time Machakos, country bus. He's just come to Nairobi and he's told, now there are bandits somewhere on Moi Avenue, go get them. Where does he even begin to know where Moi Avenue is? That's the situation you're putting our police in before we even get to. Look at the rifles we are carrying. 1945 war weapons, the G3. And look at what is happening with the Haiti rebels and the weapons they are carrying. And we are sending our men and women there. If you ask me, worst case scenario, if we love this country, there's a lot of money involved in the Haiti issue. Why don't they bring us plane loads of their young men? They bring us 10, 15, 20, 30 planes. We've been training the British Army in Laikipia. We have adequate training facilities for these people. We train their young people to go and deal with their own problems. They know the geography of their area. They know their language. The only thing they don't have is training. And what the United Nations should do, if they're really keen on Haiti, is to give us resources to train so that Kenya becomes a training hub. We will get a lot of money from those people coming here. And because we've had stories of some children who are now British citizens by somehow, because of what happens in Nanyuki, we'll also have some Haiti citizens, which is fine by extension. But let us have them coming here, we train them, and they go back. I think this is a high time we moved into Baringo and had a serious conversation with those bandits and told them actually there are people who are ready to deal with people like you. They are happy to exchange fire with you.
So we send bandits to...
We send bandits there because it's a bandit place. Bandit deal with bandit. And then we secure Baringo automatically. I have always told people, there's a politician telling you that you elected me so that I can get you jobs outside of this country. If those jobs are really good for Kenyans, why don't we start by giving those jobs to our cabinet secretaries so that each of them gets a job outside of this country, because those jobs are really good. And then the Kenyans take those ones. And if even the president feels that it is good for Kenyans to go and work abroad, I want him to lead by example and become the president of one of those countries that he's sending us to. So that people can see that by example, these politicians are not only telling us that jobs abroad are good, they can also go and do them. Our ministers, let them go and become ministers there if they would qualify. So let's have a conversation. And I always tell people, you are being told that you are not qualified for some of those jobs in Germany. How many members of our cabinet qualify to do a driver's job in Germany? How many members of our cabinet would be employed as a secretary in any of those countries? Just by bringing in their CV, just by having their reputation. And you saw when vetting was happening, when somebody comes with a 2-page CV and he's supposed to be, I remember at least Kibaki's President Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet was different. There are some people like the late Professor Magoha, may he rest in peace, who came with a 96-page CV.
Wow.
But the people who were interviewing him were Kawajiko, who had a half-a-page CV. First and foremost, when I went to vote, there was a BVR kit that was supposed to check whether it is Fanyamambo who is voting, and I had to put my thumb there. I think the first thing is we abolish that thing. We come up with another one for you to check whether your brain qualifies to be given a voter's card in the first place. Because not everybody who carries a vote in their pocket in this country has got the capacity to understand what we are voting for and why we are voting. And that is the biggest problem we have. People take emotions to the ballot. People take hate and bile and disgrace to the ballot. The ballot is supposed to be a repository of hope, a repository of our dreams, a repository of those things that we think are good for our country. When you go to the ballot in saying, I hate Jeff, I'm going to remove Jeff, I'm going to punish Jeff, that hate you take to the ballot is what you harvest immediately after the elections. But when you take hope and aspirations and dreams and thoughts about a good tomorrow and put them in that box, that's what you begin to harvest the following day. Very many good leaders have offered themselves, but we have voted for the wrong ones and for the wrong reasons.
Sometimes they say you get what you deserve.
I think they get who they are. I think sometimes Kenyans look for the person who looks like them. And they're like, this one looks like us.
So last year looks like us.
And Mount Kenya must wake up. Yani munarushiwa tu tumbegu hivi munaanza kuchukua. And you're not even thinking about it. We have thought about it and we are serious. We are having a presidential candidate as Mount Kenya in 2027. This conversation of deputy president is misplaced. It is not our conversation. Dende and Rigiji can have it. They are not the only leaders we have in Mount Kenya.
Now, I want to say yesterday, when Sifuna clashed with Mungatana in Citizen TV in that breakfast show, The argument was whether Ruto is a liar or not. And before you listen to that, before you listen to that clash, kidogo, I need to also just pick up something from what Fanyamamba is saying. There's something that Kinuthia Fanyamambo is saying, that we had all the oranges. We had the oranges and the apple, the same basket. But we picked the wrong pilot. Did we know that the pilot was wrong? We want to find out that. Not that we didn't know. We knew. Yes, the public knew. The public knew something was wrong. The public knew something was wrong. The records were all over. But there is a problem we Kenyans have. Before that, listen to a clash between Sifuna and Mungatana.
No, but let's be parliamentary.
Let's be parliamentary. We are not in parliament. How can we be parliamentary? We are on TV. We are not in parliament. King is not here to protect you. We have to speak the way we speak. This is not parliament.
No, you can't.
I can say. Who says I cannot say? This is not your show. It is his show.
You cannot hold people at
Let me finish first.
How can you say this is a lie?
It is the English language. If something is not true, it's called a lie. This is not parliament.
In my custom, you don't talk to elders or people.
Pokomo custom. We are not here under Pokomo customary law. We are not here under Pokomo customary law.
Talk with respect. Talk with respect.
What I want to say here.
This is not a public rally of ODM. You can't come here and start calling the president lies.
If you want us to operate, the president is not a Pokomo. The president is not a Pokomo. He's not an elder.
Kenyan. He's
not an elder.
Okay, Mungatana, hold on. No, Sifuna.
Not call us here under Pokomo customary law.
Correct.
So let him take Pokomo customary law back to Garsen. I was not going to sit and listen to Ruto's lies as an elected official, so I chose to stay away from that debate. But
I'm saying,
the point that I am making,
you need
in
to
terms of
deliberately correct the way we use our language here. We are before the public.
So the discussion of whether Ruto is a liar or not, I think it was settled by it, and someone shared this interesting photo here of Sifuna sweeping Kenya Kwanza team in an interview. It was on a light note. So I want to confirm this. The public is the problem. We are the problem. The public is the problem. And this is not to mean that Raila would have been better. In fact, the question of Raila cannot make it, it's not this, it's not that, that Azimio was not this and that. That question doesn't exist because Raila is not the president, honestly. So it will be so much wrong to judge him. Ruto we can easily judge because Ruto was a deputy for 10 years, just before this. And so when he was making these promises, and Kenyans believe from a point of knowledge, and he would go to remind the public that I know what I am saying because I've been a deputy president for the last 10 years. Now, and even in public, there was that chest thumping. I will do it. It will be me and myself. The public made these problems. These are three reasons why the public is a problem. The public is a problem because we thrive in political emotions. And politicians simply have one tool to use: antagonism. Antagonism. Remember clips of Mudavadi going to Nyeri and telling Nyerians that, do we eat roads? You know, Uhuru Kenyatta had really done roads in Mount Kenya. And he went, and I went to Nyeri. There's a very good, the two routes to Nyeri, ukitumia route ya Muranga and the hiyo ya Karatina, both of them lami. And remember the clip when Uhuru Kenyatta went to, I don't know, that was in Kiambu, and called Kinoti mjinga, wewe mjinga, and said Uhuru Kenyatta utaki usiniue, unataka kuniua, sijui usiue watoto wangu. Rigathi was going and saying the way, don't kill me the way I don't know your father killed, I don't know who and who. Now those were just cracked up political emotions to create some antagonism, and Kenyans bought those things. And so some people in Mount Kenya, that is why the country, you normally see sometimes the country putting a blame in Mount Kenya, because Mount Kenya was largely, you know, it was largely winked, like wow, ilikuwa tu hiyo emotion too, that's enough, no question, emotion. And politicians, and we made a problem. The day Kenyans will understand, and the day the public will understand, that there is a big gap between Mr. Politician and you. There is a big gap. There is a big gap. It's normally laughable when you see, when William Ruto goes to the public and says, hawa hawajui, hawa hawajawahi lala njaa. He went to Mount Kenya and projected himself as one of those hustlers. And those hustlers voted thinking they're voting one of their own. No. There is no way. There is a big gap between President Ruto and you and me and that teacher and that doctor, and big difference. In this hierarchy, Ruto is among the top 10 richest people in this country, even as we speak. So the public made a mistake, and we continue to make this mistake. I see it across the political divide. Now we are going to the general election. People will start coming. We saw the Kenya Kwanza going to market. You know, wanakula hiyo mahindi inauza 10 bob. Wanakupatia 1. If they are normal like you, why are they buying maize and mahindi, the maize you are selling at 10 bob, they are buying it at 20,000? Why? They will go to the Gikomba market and buy jackets. A jacket that you are selling at 1,000, they will buy at 30,000. Are we together? So people projected, and now we are going to the general election. Politicians will start doing very, things they'll even wonder. They will start going to the villages and mingling with those young people and those hustlers. And those people think, the public think, stop judging politicians like you are not the same rank. These are not your people. They are pushing their own interests. Number 2, we marvel at quick fixes. Quick fixes without interrogating. When someone was telling you that you will use Wi-Fi free, you believe those things. And because some is coming, is giving you some sewing machine, the hustler imaging, sewing machine, this and that, then you believe, now this has solved my problem. When in real sense, it has not solved that problem. We believe in those quick fixes, and then that blinds our conscious judgment. And number 4, tribal stereotypes. There are a clique of people in this country that believe Raila ni mjinga, while sorry to say some of them are ndio wajinga. There are some of them that believe Uhuru Kenyatta is a dynasty who doesn't care about you, there are people that have stereotypes, that Raila is Antichrist, and when he's elected, he's going to close all the churches. You remember the foreskin stereotypes. We are too tribal even to make a rational judgment. Too tribal. So even I don't mind the politician will try to convince you. You're too tribal to come out of that tribal thinking and think, wait, is this even right? So this is very important, by the way. Such analysis is also very important because now Ruto is saying it's not the time to be popular. Some 2 or 1 year to an election, yes, the duty bearer will come back with slashed taxes, subsidies, this and that. Then Kenyans marvel at that short term and say, oh, things are good, we're going to do this. Then after that election, if you give him a second term, you go back to factory settings. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. Thank you.